After the popular 3-season run of the Tick animated series back in the mid-90s, creator Ben Edlund shifted his focus towards bringing his beloved comic book character to life in a live-action adaptation. So, we fast forward to 2001, just a year before the superhero movie boom began, with these two major releases of Blade 2 and Spider-Man. It may have been ahead of its wave, but it emerged as a cult classic superhero parody TV series that continues to be adored by fans to this day. So, I give to you...
Wicked men, you face the Tick.
This is a live-action superhero parody series created by Ben Edlund that went for one season of 9 episodes, with each episode going for 22 minutes each. It originally aired on the Fox network from the 8th of November 2001 through to the 31st of January 2002. It was first released on a DVD by Sony Pictures Entertainment on the 30th of September 2003. And then later in 2013, Mill Creek Entertainment acquired the rights to the series and re-released the complete series on a DVD on the 4th of February 2014. This series unfolds in a satirical universe teeming with superheroes and villains alike, telling the escapades of an unconventional superhero duo, the Tick and Arthur. The Tick, an amnesiac with extraordinary strength and invincibility, possesses an insatiable craving for justice while remaining utterly clueless in the process. His partner Arthur is a one-time accountant who transformed into a moth-themed superhero, grappling with discovering his own potential as a crime fighter. Together, they combat wrongdoing in a zany, larger-than-life metropolis populated by eccentric heroes and villains alike, resulting in a whirlwind of absurdity.
Oh, how we laughed. Ha ha ha.
Look, the writing in this show successfully parodies the superhero genre by taking everything to the extreme. It's sharp and it's filled with real witty one-liners, absurd situations, and this sense of self-awareness that sort of sets it apart from other shows of its time. The humor is often bizarre and absurd, and it just works brilliantly in the context of the show's sort of larger-than-life characters and storylines. And look, I also love it that it doesn't really rely on slapstick humor or gags. It clearly weaves satire and social commentary into these episodes. It sort of addresses themes like the excesses of bureaucracy and the absurdity of like corporate culture and the nature of sort of heroism itself. Like, one of my favourite things about this show is its use of wordplay, snappy dialogue, and the clever use of language, making it a real joy to watch for those who appreciate some smart comedy.
Very smart, I like that.
Though one minor drawback of the show is actually its absurdity, and its humour may not appeal to everyone, and you may find it, for those people might find it a little too over the top and surreal. But look, for those of us out there who can appreciate that style of humour, then mate, The Tick is the absolute joy for fans of that real offbeat and clever wordplay comedy. And look, with all that said, that's why I'm going to give it a 28 out of 30.
I am the swift arm of justice, and she's got a bee in her bonnet, buddy.
This show is, of course, based off Ben Edlund's comic book of the same name. And the transition from page to screen here is seamless, as Ben was pretty much the creator of the show. He was one of the executive producers and one of the head writers, which meant it brought all that same unique blend of comedy, superhero tropes from the comic book to the small screen. One of the standout aspects of this show is its remarkable costume design. I mean, the majority of these costumes appear to have just been directly lifted straight from the comic book pages, which is a sharp contrast to the 2016 Tick series, where they went with a more realistic approach. And look, I don't think that's really the choice they should have went with. As you know, this show really aligns itself perfectly with that over-the-top sort of tone, you know, and that's what's resulting in this fantastic look and feel that sort of completes the overall vibe of this series.
Darn good show.
Now, as far as our cast goes, I'll have them up here. And as you can see, there are a couple of familiar faces here for sure. But the one thing about the cast is everyone is great and no one gives a subpar performance at all across the board, which goes without saying, as our four main cast members are so great together. This is really one of its strengths of the show, was the great casting of these roles. I mean, let's look at the star of our show, Patrick Warburton. His portrayal of the Tick was pitch perfect, capturing the character's unwavering sense of justice, boundless enthusiasm, and just the absurd catchphrases mixed in with his like childhood innocence and unwavering belief in heroism. It just adds some real depth to this character. And Warburton's deadpan delivery of a hilariously absurd lines just elevates this role to almost near comic perfection.
That was the best thing I have ever seen.
As far as David Burke's portrayal of Arthur as the neurotic accountant turned reluctant superhero, he's endearing and relatable to the rest of us. As the Tick's mild-mannered sidekick, he did such a great job of being that sort of that grounded counterpoint to the chaos that the Tick creates around him, and always being there as that voice of reason when his partner is, well, really making no sense at all.
Hey man, this dude is crazy.
Liz Vasey, who played Captain Liberty, did such a great job at this fierce, independent woman with a no-nonsense attitude, challenging the superhero status quo. But at the same time, she also had this self-doubting attitude and just dealing with the same insecurities that most women deal with in their lives. It was such a well-rounded character portrayal by her. But the scene stealer in this show was by far Nestor Carbonell's as a Batmanuel. He was a comedically impeccable in this parody of a Batman-like character with this hilariously skewed perspective, which was brilliant. You know, he brought this suave charm, self-absorption, this over-the-top confidence, and just punctuated by this utterly misguided attempts at heroics. He is a constant source of laughter throughout this show. Just another all-round great cast, costumes, sets, hell, everything came together to make this show a classic, and that is why I'm going to give this a 20 out of 20.
Destroy Jimmy Carter. You in what army, Pinko?
Okay, if we look at the case, I love that. I actually love this. It's really well done, and it's got a real comic book feel to it. Great shot there of the cast on it. There's this is the early version, and then there's another version which is very similar. There's not a lot of difference. On the side, that comes out. We'll get that a bit closer. As you can see, that does pop out if you've got it next to some darker stuff. Boom, just pops. And then on the back, some nice shots there, really well done. I really like what they've done there. Overall, it looks really good, and it pops, and you notice it on the shelf straight away. Now, if we look at the discs, as you can see, it's just the tops of their heads, which is, I suppose that's just what this is like, is just that silly sort of stuff, which I think is kind of good. But very vibrant inside, has all the episodes and everything. Such a great job on this. Honestly, this is one of those standout ones that you love to get your hands on. It looks good, has everything you need. Yeah, so I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10.
Don't be an Adolf Quitler.
Can't talk to me like that.
Yes, I can, Quitler.
Well, this would be the only letdown, and that is the special features on this one, as which is a bugger, as it only got a couple, which is some commentaries and 2 trailers, and that's it. Not really much at all, which is a real shame. But I'm guessing because the show was only short-lived, there's no real surprise that they didn't have anything else to put on here. So look, anyway, as usual, it did have something, but it wasn't much. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to give it a 3 out of 10.
Communism does not pay. So, don't have a snappy Soviet comeback for that one, do we?
As I bring up the Rotten Tomatoes scorecard, as you can see up there, the critics came in at 88%, while the audience score came in at 83%. Two are very good scores there. And as I scrolled through the reviews, there were only 3 critics out of the whole 27 that actually panned it, and panned it big time, which when you read the reviews, you can really see that they missed the point of the show completely. So if you're trying to take them out, I reckon the ratings would have been 100% if you ask me. As for the audience, it was pretty much the same sort of deal. Majority of the people who wrote bad reviews really missed the mark of it, like in reviewing it, as they kind of reviewed it as a serious show, when really this show is a parody of a parody, in the sense of like The Tick is a parody of Batman 66, which in part was kind of a parody of the serious comic book characters at the time, if you kind of get my drift. So in that way, yeah, it was a parody of a parody. But yeah, look, if we round up the scores, which are some great ones, we're going to get a 9 out of 10.
My head feels like it's gonna have a baby. It has a name?
Now, over the last few episodes, I've had a few reviews that aren't so great with some TV shows and movies. And look, I really wanted to review something this time that I guess I knew I was awesome, you know? So I looked through my collection and I'm scrolling through, and there it was, The Tick TV show. Oh God, I love this show. And I hadn't seen it for ages. So I thought, what a great reason to sit down, give it a watch again. And you know what? I was not disappointed. It had been a while, and I really couldn't remember most of the specifics of the show. So it almost felt like I was sitting down watching this for the first time again, and it was great. I laughed, and I just sat there with this just big smile on my face as I watched it, just enjoying the whole satire and parody of it all, which for me, Ben Edlund, he is such a talent for taking this whole superhero genre and really poking fun at it in a smart, playful and funny way without not really being nasty or detrimental to the source material. It was such a shame that this show only ran for 9 episodes, as a full season of say 23 episodes would have been a goldmine of entertainment. But from what I've read, Patrick Warburton said that Fox sort of buried the show. They didn't advertise it at all. So that's why the ratings weren't great, and hence it got cancelled, as Fox didn't really own the rights to it at the end of the day. It was really just about money.
Show me the money. Show me the money.
And they weren't making all the money off this show, so they didn't push it hard to sell it to audiences, which, you know, for us fans is a bugger. But at least we've got the DVD and we can just watch those 9 episodes over and over again. Look, this is where this show really took off as well, when it hit DVD sales, which made it the cult classic that it is today. Anyway, this is by far probably in my top 5 comic book or superhero shows of all time. It's just so good and so funny. And that's why I'm going to give it this high score of 20 out of 10.
Magnificent beast. What other strange powers must he possess?
Okay, so if we look at collectability, I'm definitely going to put this on the higher end, the 4 out of 5, as this is definitely one you should have in your collection. Whether it's your love of superheroes, whether it's your love of comedy, it's your love of really anything, when you're collecting this type of stuff, it is a definite must-have for anyone's collection. A real must-have. And as far as availability goes, it's definitely on the lower end. It's not like super common, but it's not hard to find a copy if you want to grab one out there. I think if you looked up eBay now, you could find 20 to 30 copies easily to buy. And I think not the version I have, because that's the first printing that's out of print, but the second one that Mill Creek did, I think you can still get that from a lot of your usual retail outlets as we speak. Now, your average price, you're looking at somewhere between the $7 to $28 mark for a DVD. And of course, there is nothing for Blu-ray or 4K HD as of this video. Now, the final score, we get a grand total of 89 out of 100. Oh, what a great score for an awesome show. It is a real shame that the special features let this one down, as this could potentially have been one of the highest scores we've had on this show. Now, this show is a superhero comedy, a masterpiece that is still a blast to watch today. Its humor, unforgettable characters, and satirical take on the genre make it a must-see for anyone out there looking for a good laugh.
It is a masterpiece.
So, if you like this video, you want to see some more of my reviews, why don't you click that one there? Oh, maybe you want to see some of my collection updates. Got you covered too. Why don't you click that one there? And of course, don't forget to do the most important thing. Throw me a bat like, and don't forget to hit that subscription button on the way out. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.